live. I'm pushing it. There we go. We are live.
Hey everybody, this is Steve. We're going to get started here in 5 minutes. If you have any questions for today, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll get to them as soon as we can. We'll see you shortly.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Scott Lurie with the Hard Money Co. And today we are coming to you live for one of our We Do Deals, Discuss Deal webinars. I'm joined today by Steve Straub from my office, who is our sales manager, who just today received a 5-star review on an awesome file. So that was fun to see. Steve, it's good to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
It's Masters Friday. I don't know if that means anything. Maybe the hat gives it away.
Just the subtlety, you know, it's a great week.
Subtlety. I love it. It's great to be with everybody. We are a direct hard money lender today with the Hard Truths by Scott Lurie. We talk about real estate transactions, deals, opportunities, challenges that are in real estate transactions, how we've seen our clients, our borrowers overcome them, and as well as some adversity that's in front of people today. And we kind of talk through those transactions. If you have a topic you want us to discuss at any time, please put it into the chat, and we're happy to engage in that discussion as well. We like to have open dialogue when possible. Those are the most engaging opportunities for live streaming YouTube channels. But let's get started, Steve. What's on everyone's mind today?
Well, we've had a couple pretty cool opportunities and some different things come across our desks. So just wanted to cover a few of those with you and get your kind of take on them. So
Sure.
One of them is we had a client that currently owns a 2-unit. He owns it free and clear. The intention for him is to turn that into a 3-unit. And I just wanted to go through any maybe tips or tricks you can provide, potential issues with converting a property, you know, unit wise. I just want to get your take on it.
This is so this has gained a lot of popularity over the last couple, I'd say decade. Most people have called ADUs or additional dwelling units have become a focus for people. How do you get additional revenue, right? So you see in markets where there's such constraint on housing, you see people turning garages into ADUs or additional dwelling units.
Yep.
So you see this also from people that have a duplex or a 2-unit and want to add additional revenue to it. The theory sometimes sounds great on paper, right? And then you have to get into the nuances of how do you actually convert a 2-unit into a 3-unit, and does the effort equal the reward, right? Can you pull out of it, which is the ultimate goal, is to get more revenue, which then you ultimately increase your NOI, which ultimately then drives the value, right? So that's how people look at it from an income approach standpoint, specifically for residential dwelling units. So some of the challenges really always start with municipalities. Most people that we see do this try to do it without permits, or they try to do it on a short budget. And almost every single time that happens, it fails, right? Because what ultimately happens is there's some trigger that you have to get through to give the means for that third dwelling unit to be marketable, to be saleable, to actually happen. So take, for example, this. I'm going to go make a 3rd unit. I'm going to put it in the lower flat. I'm going to create my egress. Oh, that's great. No permits. I do all this work. And then you go to the utility company and say, oh, can you supply me with another meter? And they say, sure. Where's your permit? Right. And that's how you kind of get stopped. That's where you get stuck in the process.
Yep.
So, so as you look through and as you think about adding the unit, the way I look at it is really, what is the average unit in a market valued at, right? So if you were to take our market, take Milwaukee, take the Lower East Side, you can say each unit's worth, let's just say $150,000 a door, right? 2-bedroom, 2-bath, or 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Let's just use something of that variety. So if you take all of those and you say, okay, this is what I need, I want, and then you can do it for 50 grand, right? And you could do it with permits for 50 or 70 grand, and it's actually worth 150. It absolutely makes sense, right? And if you can get the rents, then you're driving the value. If you're driving the value, then you're improving the property. The property is going to go up in value. Then you can sell it, right? Then you can do the ultimate in whatever that remodel is. I think most people forget that you have to also get architects involved. You have to get permits involved. You have to get plumbers and licensed electricians, the water company to add if you need a separately metered.
Sure.
And so, and utility company. And so when our clients do this, I always ask them, does it make sense, right? First thing, can you get the value out of it, right? If you put it in, how do you get it out? You got to increase the value.
Yeah.
You have to actually make the municipality say, oh, it's no longer a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I mean, it's no longer a duplex, it's now a triplex, right? And so long as they can do that, then you can drive the value. But it is a very difficult process done by very few of our borrowers successfully, right? And so I think as a borrower or as someone interested in the business of adding ADUs or adding a dwelling unit, you have to think through that entire process and make sure that what you're contemplating And for me, it's pretty simple, right? I'm contemplating to add a unit because I want to drive the value of the property by increasing the rent. It's so simple, right?
Yep.
And then make sure that that works. And it's I'm looking at one right now where I was going to add another bedroom to a house, and it's like, it's a lot of work, man. So I don't know if it's always worth the lift, but
Sure.
I'm not always the entrepreneur doing it. And if you're the entrepreneur doing it, make sure you're asking the tough questions and know the permitting process well.
Yep. And I'm assuming that they can, ask the county or the city those questions ahead of time, like,
100%.
what
So
would
the
it
most
take?
most municipalities have like planning desks. You
Sure.
walk in there and say, "Hey, I'm buying 123 Main Street, or I own 123 Main Street." In this scenario, he owns it.
Yep.
Hey, I'd like to add a unit. Here's kind of what I'm thinking about, and they'll tell you, no chance, right? Or they'll say it's zoned for up to 4 units, so you can absolutely do that.
Mhm.
And here's what you have to do, and here's the process. And once they outline it for you, don't miss a step, right? It's literally following the rules, because the person at the planning desk, the moment you skip or don't do anything, they'll ruin your life.
It's fair.
And I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's not fun to deal with them
Yeah.
from time to time.
Ideally not. All right. Hopefully you just listen to them and move forward appropriately.
That would be my recommendation.
Awesome. We had another question that we get this all the time. People want to get into fix and flips. They don't have any immediate cash available. What are a few different options that you suggest or that you feel like we see?
Yeah, this is probably the number one question we get.
Mhm.
This is the number one question we get. This is the number one issue on applications, why they don't get approved. This is the number one denial reason is no cash, right?
Yep.
No cash, no credit, right? So like, I want to be in the fix and flip business. I want to do real estate. I want to be an investor. I want to do all of this, but I have no money, right? And so when I look back at starting in the real estate business in 2003, I had no money. I had no experience either. I was the applicant, right? That I just got 5 minutes ago. We just got an application, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Hey, I'd like to flip a house at 123 Main Street in Detroit, Michigan, or in St. Louis, Missouri, or in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or in any of the towns. I have a 680 credit score and I have no money. Literally, people will write down, I have $1,000.
Yep.
And if you have $1,000, that's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money to play in the real estate space with.
Mhm.
So people always ask me, like, Scott, how do I get started? How did you get started? Right? Like, where do you get the money from? Like, you need, if you're going to do a $100,000 property, you need $25,000. Plan on having 25 grand.
Yeah.
And people are like, 25 grand. I work my day job and I have a kid and I have no way to save. I'm paycheck to paycheck. That's very common. That's America. That's the 99% of America.
Yeah.
So I go back to this one statement: winners win. There's a solution to get money, right? There's a way, there's a means to get money. There's a compelling thesis that you can make for somebody to give you that money. But if you sound uneducated, if you don't have the education, if you don't have the business plan, if you don't invest the time, I always tell people on the application, it took you 10 minutes to fill out that application.
Yep.
And I can tell.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're doing. You don't care. You didn't put in 30 minutes into the application. You didn't look at the application and say, this is what they're looking to collect. I'm going to think through this. People just rattle off the application. It happens every day, right?
Yep.
400, 500 applications a month. We get them. And most denials, most people are saying, I don't have money. And I'm like, then go do something else. Winners win, right? And so what do? How do you get the money, right? People ask us all the time, how do you get the money? You know what I'm actually kind of amazed about? When people say, how do you get the money? I have borrowers of mine that make compelling theses to me, and I give them the other money from another business.
Yep.
Right? I look at our guys out of Michigan, right? They came to me and said, hey, would you JV with these deals? And we're lending on their first lien position. I'm giving them the gap funding on the second position because they're competent. I've never met them, but they're competent. They articulate, they pay us off, they close deals, they're functioning. So I always tell people, create the business plan, show it to somebody. You spend all your time. Where do you not find people to lend money to? Bars, restaurants, screwing around, right? Where do you find people? Cafes, businesses, business environments, networking, right? How many people have gone to a networking event? Me, I go all the time. Go network with people. Find the opportunity to get the money to invest in real estate. Plan on 25% of the purchase price.
Yep.
And if you can do that, you can be successful. If someone says, I don't have the money, I can't do a deal, I don't have the money. You're never going to do a deal, sir, ma'am. The winners that come to us and say, I don't have the money, I'm going to go get the money, are the ones that are winning. They're doing 10 deals a month. They're figuring it out. How do you figure it out? Take the problem, identify the solutions, take the solutions and go get them. So how do people get money? You have to go to your mother, your brother, your sister, your aunt, uncle, family, right? That's an easy low-hanging fruit. And people say, well, I don't talk to my family anymore. Okay, we got other problems, but let's talk through this.
Yeah.
Then go to your friend, right? Go to a peer. Go to somebody that looks up to you or you look up to them and say, how do I get started? Network. Call the local real estate investors in your community. How'd you get started? Oh, they might show you this widget over here, right?
Sure.
Or when you say you live paycheck to paycheck, are you really living paycheck to paycheck or do you spend money on dumb stuff? Because that's really probably the problem, right?
Yeah.
How many people live paycheck to paycheck and go to Starbucks every day? Millions?
Yeah, I would guess.
Millions? How many people live paycheck to paycheck and eat out every meal? Millions?
Yeah.
Millions? I think so. I mean, so think about it. It's like if you stopped and committed to the idea, we go back to this. I always say to people, how hard would you work for an extra $50,000? And most people raise their hand. They're like, I'll work my tail off. I'd do anything to have another $50,000 in my bank account right now. I've never had $50,000 in my bank account. I'll work my tail off to go get $50,000. And I'm like, yeah, that's amazing, right? But then you tell them to go do it and they don't do it because they're not either A, qualified, B, capable, 3, understand how to do it, or the ultimate for most of these people is they're just sheer lazy. And like, that's the solution. So think long and hard about it. To get the money, what I did is I went to my family. I said, hey, would you lend me money? I'll pay you a 10% return. And that's how I got started. That's how I got started in the lending business. I got $700,000 from friends. So I'll pay you 10%. And that $700,000 today is now $100 million. I've never missed a payment because my paramount is my investors. I always do what I say I'm going to do. And I always execute on the business plan. And so long as you can do that, you can start with $100,000 or $25,000 and make that into $1 million. Yeah. It's very simple. You got to stick to the plan.
Love it. Or find somebody that has the money and partner with them, like you said.
Partner them. Say, hey, listen, I'll give you half of my profits.
Yeah.
I'll give you 20% of my profits. And then in a year, after you've done 3 of them, you'll be like, oh, I don't need the guy anymore or the girl.
Yep. Love it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
The other one too is like they could always pull money from a retirement if they have a retirement at
so that's we don't talk enough about that, but yes. So self-direct, if you have an IRA or a 401k that's at your work, you can convert that into a self-directed IRA and make investment. Now, there's laws when you do it for yourself that you have to follow. So you can take those dollars and invest it in other real estate transactions. But if you do it for yourself, investing from self-directed, there are restrictions that prohibit that.
Sure.
But there's ways around everything, and you just have to figure out how to do it.
Go talk to an accountant, right?
Yeah, go talk to any of the self-directed companies. They'll tell you.
You got it. Awesome. And then I think I just wanted to highlight, we did a really cool property in was it Mississippi? Is that correct? Like a 60 unit, I believe.
I don't know. We looked at one. Actually, you're talking about the one that never closed.
Well, let's talk about it anyways.
Yeah, we can
let's
talk
talk
about
what we liked about it.
Yeah, so this was a multifamily deal. Let's just talk in general. So we like real estate investors that are sophisticated in nature. This was a multifamily deal that we contemplated, which was over 24 units of dwelling units. The business thesis was great. The value was great. The location was great. Occupancy was down. That's why the opportunity was to buy is there, right?
Sure.
So I think part of it is like, where do I find opportunity? And the opportunity is creating value, right? And so my kid today is like, Dad, how do I create value? And I'm like, well, think about it. Let's think about this. You can create value through leases, right? Occupancy is at 60%. You bring it up to 100%. You've just created 40% of value.
Yep.
If the physical structure is damaged, right? So take the physical structure and say, oh, this physical structure is dilapidated. You can improve it through our funds, right? We provide 100% of repair funds. So people are like, well, I don't have money. I'm like, that's a lie. You can get it. You got to figure out, strategize, and make it work. So that's essentially how we make all that happen. And when you do that, you end up in a really good spot where you've created value. So people talk about value creation, whether it's a 2-unit duplex, a 4-unit, or a 100 units. It doesn't matter. The BRRRR strategy, right? Who created the BRRRR strategy, before BRRRR strategy was really a BRRRR strategy, I called it the value add strategy, right? We were creating value. Sure. I was buying something. I would buy units. In 2010, I bought 400 units in 1 week. And I paid $9,000 a door per the units. Now you convert that by the occupancy was at 35%. The roofs were caving in. I created all that value. And then I was able to refinance in 12 months and get all of my investors all of their money back. And that was like the start of the domino effect where I'm like, dude, I'm good at something. I'm good at creating value, right? Value. And those units make so much money and they cash flow so well. And then you create the value. So on your personal financial statement, if everyone doesn't have a personal financial statement, create one today. It's the best personal metric you can look at to say, how much have I improved my personal net worth year over year?
Sure.
Your goal should be 50,000 this year. Next year, it should be 500,000. The year after, $1 million. Then 5 million. And I'm saying that, and people are like, $5 million? I'm going to create value, $5 million? I'm going to create $1 million? Yeah, there's one industry. There's not two. There's only one industry that allows you to do that. Real estate. That's it. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
Create value.
And so when you're looking for properties that you want to create value for, what are like maybe 2 or 3 things that you look for? I know you had said like caving in roof, of course.
Yeah.
Like,
so distressed asset, distressed asset. I look at it, I find the best home runs for me are probate estate properties where the family wants out.
Okay.
Right. That's like the low hanging fruit. Then you have like distressed assets. Then you've got tenant, non-owner occupied tenancy issues. Yep. Then you just have networks of people that are like motivated seller who just needs out because of some financial issue. Right. And that's the most common, right? Because Americans, like we seem to like gravitate to just money problems. It seems to be like the standard, you've got all these flashy things on your phone or your screen that's like, go spend money over here. And then you do it and you're like, wait a second, over here is not happy anymore. What do I do? And so financial challenges, whether you have a list pendants filed due to a foreclosure action or because something happened, that is where the largest amount of velocity happens from, right? Because it's just the biggest problem. And unfortunately, probate happens due to attrition and death of family. But believe it or not, like not every family has a family, right? Not like everybody's like, oh, I talked to my mom and she's in this house and she's going to it doesn't really work like that. So sometimes you end up in probate. Sometimes you end up in these estate sales that are just amazing. And you can go in there and be swift and buy a property and improve it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we have for
this week. Great. It was a great day. It's a great conversation. I want to thank everybody for listening. Today is Masters Friday. I don't know who you've, for me, it's one of the greatest games in sports. Do we have someone that mentioned something? Great. That's a great question. The question is this: how do I sell this to my friends and family if I've never done this before? That's brilliant. So here's the answer. Get the knowledge through YouTube, internet, talking to people that are doing it so you can be confident in what you're doing. When I flipped my first house, when I bought my first piece of real estate, I had no idea. I didn't know what I was doing. I bought a house. I'm like, all right, the numbers look good. I'm going to go buy the house. So the question is a brilliant question. The way you sell, 80% of it is confidence. 80%. So you got to know how to talk, right? You got to know to say, hey, here's what's happening in the real estate space. Here's why I'm buying a value. Here's where my opportunity is. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's my business plan. And don't spend 5 seconds creating it.
Yeah.
Start creating it today. Pick it up tomorrow. Go back to what you created yesterday. 3 days from now, go back to it. and build a business plan. That business plan can take you 7 days, a week, 2 weeks. Run it past somebody. Right? What's the business, right? I'm going to buy something below market or below value.
Yep.
I'm going to do something to improve its value, and I'm going to sell it for a profit, right? That's
Yeah.
the theory, right? So let's not complicate it. That's the business. Or I'm going to buy a rental property, I'm going to improve the rents, and I'm going to resell it. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine too.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So those are the various different ways to do it. You have to gain the knowledge, right? So you're here today, whoever this question came from, you're here today. You did the first step. You're networking. You're asking good questions. You're paying attention. That's step one. Now go online, figure out, look up my buddy Eric Klein and his craziness. Go attend a networking session, go to a webinar, go to a seminar, learn, find a mentor, pay attention, right? It's just simply, people are like, well, I don't want to do all of that. I'm like, well, then you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Or you're never going to get started. So great question. I hope I answered it. If you need any further help, please feel free to reach out to us.
Absolutely. That is a really good question.
Yeah, great question.
People like to see research. It's
Yeah.
like they want to know.
But you also feel better. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
what is an ARV? If you don't know what all the lingo is,
Yeah.
start studying the lingo.
For
If you
sure.
don't know what the after repaired value is, if you don't know what a comp is, if you don't know what a distance is, what's the standard distance? All of that stuff I know because I've done it for 20 years. Where do you want your comps to be? As close as possible. Would you want them to match houses? Of course. What if it's a colonial versus a ranch? Different type of house. Can you get to it? Sure. Then you can break it down square footage. I can ramble on forever because it's just in my DNA now. It's
Yeah.
all I do. For you that's just starting out, you got to figure it out. You got to start learning, listening. You can't listen enough
For sure.
to what's out there.
We have a podcast too with a bunch
And
of
we have a
info on it.
podcast. Listen to our podcast, The Hard Truths by Scott Lurie. It's amazing. So thank you all for being here today. I wish everybody a great Masters Friday. This is kind of like a ceremonial day here just because the Masters only happens once a year and it's the greatest sporting event in my opinion. So please enjoy it. I hope everyone has a prosperous weekend. I hope people are out there making money. Please work hard for that extra $50,000. I want to hear your story. Thanks for being with us. My name is Scott Lurie with The Hard Truths and The Hard Money Co. Let me know if we can help you at all. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.